he would offer to step aside, there would be a unity government in 5 minutes.
I think I just got hired.
It's like a grandkid-on-demand.
New Hampshire has become the 21st state in the U.S. to abolish the death penalty, with the Senate voting to override a veto by the Republican governor. The change won't mean much in practice. The last state execution was in 1939, and there's only one inmate on death row, whose sentence won't be affected retroactively. A Chicago judge sentenced a former top lieutenant of the Sinaloa cartel, who managed drug shipments for leader El Chapo, to 15 years in prison today. But with time served, Vicente Zambada Niebla could be out in 5. The remarkably light sentence is a reward for years of cooperation with prosecutors, including as a key witness testifying against his former boss. As part of its promise to bring manufacturing back to Wisconsin, Foxconn announced that it's giving $13 million in contracts to 3, quote, outstanding Wisconsin-based companies. Except 2 aren't headquartered in Wisconsin. Foxconn says they still count as Wisconsin-based, since they've had a presence for over a year in Wisconsin.
To me, it's a dirty word, the word impeach. It's a dirty, filthy, disgusting word, and it had nothing to do with me. So I don't think so.
Jared Kushner's promotion tour for what President Trump calls the deal of the century couldn't have come at a worse time. Trump's son-in-law met America's closest ally and linchpin of the proposed peace plan just hours into the biggest political crisis Israel has seen in years.
Even though we had a little event last night, that's not going to stop us. We're going to continue working together.
Bibi might be putting a brave face on it, but the little event is a potentially career-ending setback that could see him out of office for the first time in a decade. After frenzied last-minute negotiations, Netanyahu missed a midnight deadline to form a government. Israel now faces new elections, with former defense chief Avigdor Lieberman refusing to let his party join a ruling coalition, ostensibly over a law exempting ultra-Orthodox Jewish men from military service.
בלי זה אנחנו רוצים ממשלת ימין, ממשלה לאומית, אנחנו לא רוצים ממשלת הלכה. אנחנו בעד מדינת ישראל, אנחנו בעד מדינה יהודית, אנחנו נגד מדינת הלכה.
Lawmakers from Bibi's Likud party said Lieberman's real motive was to bring down his long-standing political rival.
No matter what we are going to offer, Lieberman will not agree to it. He doesn't want to sit with Prime Minister Netanyahu. It's probably more of a personal issue than an actual ideological one. And in that case, he needs to return the seats that he received from the public because, to be honest, it's quite deceiving.
Netanyahu will very likely run again in elections slated for September, and he could even win. But he'll still need the support of Lieberman and the ultra-Orthodox parties to form a coalition that can govern. And there's an added complication. In October, he faces indictment on corruption charges. The Prime Minister's party was pushing a controversial law that would have given Netanyahu immunity from prosecution. Now, he's likely to be in court before the law has any chance to pass. All of which could spell an end to one of the biggest careers in Israeli politics.
Do you think it's over for Netanyahu? I mean, he's known as the magician.
Yeah, he's the magician. Look, he's a virtuoso. What makes him so good is he brings all the elements to a political campaign. He's a charismatic campaigner, but he networks in like his international friendships, Trump, Putin. But what's different now, and this is where I think it gets a little dicier for him. First of all, he's a bit tarnished that he couldn't pull a rabbit out of the hat like he usually does yesterday. So people will wonder, is the magic gone, you know? But beyond that, he's given the center a frame for the next election in a way that they didn't have in April, which is they will make this about the future of Israel's democracy.
How big a setback is this for the Trump administration?
It's a setback for the Trump administration because it seems like the idea of a Trump peace plan as an operational document has receded further into the distance. In the short term, they can market this as we're not putting it forward now because of the Israeli election, but it really brings into question whether even with a new Israeli government, however, whatever stripes it may be, whether this is really realistic at a time that the American political calendar heats up. And so basically, the U.S. and Israeli calendars are out of sync.
So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. And welcome. Thank you.
Will停吗？会停的。你害怕吗？不害怕，我害怕。哇！
其实我觉得不够停，应该要停这儿。下次吧，下次啊。
Dr. Hu Rongdong leads a group of engineers at Citi, a company that develops autonomous vehicles. Their job is to build the brain of these trucks so they can think like a human driver, and then test it out on the road in real time. At this testing site, built by the Chinese government.
你觉得无聊吗？真的。
我们这辆车从来没有见过我们的车场的数据，我们然后训练了这样的一个感知系统，到了车上以后，它依然认得这就是车道线，这就是交通标志。
我们现在在干什么？
我们发现前方车辆的速度太慢了，我们要超过它，它会自动做决策。当它发现你持续太慢的时候，我不愿意跟着你在后面慢慢吞吞的。我不想跟你玩了。
These trucks aren't smart enough to make decisions on their own. They rely on a factory 800 miles away, where Li Zhongwei works as a data labeler, going frame by frame through dashcam footage, teaching computers to recognize what they see.
就是你看它是实线，然后你把它拉长，然后看不到的话把它拉长，然后扩大点，这样就会让你提供这么多选项。所以我们应该选对，就是白色，然后它是实线，然后点确定 OK 完成，这一口气就完成。
Every company that uses AI, from Tesla to GE to Citi, needs some level of human input. But it's too expensive to have engineers do this. So Hu's company outsources the grunt work to data factories. Li makes about $1.50 an hour, which is a pretty good salary for a small city like Zibo, where you can get an apartment for $100 a month, which is low even for China. And that may be China's biggest advantage in the AI industry. They can provide human labor domestically for cheap.
A lot of people, when they hear about AI, they just assume that, oh, okay, this is robots that are doing everything. But this is people like you doing the work.
本身每一项事业、每一项工作，它都是背后肯定都会有人他们默默的付出。我感觉做国民英雄会更好。
那人工智能的人都是你吧？
人工智能它分好多，我们只是最基础的东西，给人工智能输送数据，我们只是最底层的一部分。
Why is it good to be here rather than, say, in Beijing or Shenzhen? Wouldn't there be more opportunities for you there?
也许会更多吧，但是我觉得以我现在自身的实力，去一些大城市，说实话还有点不够看。
Over the past 3 years, the data labeling industry has grown tenfold. But this isn't just market-driven. AI is part of official government policy.
Why would the Chinese government want to have a company like yours in a place like this?
淄博它是一个重工业城市啊，但是重工业它必定有发展的瓶颈。高科技的产业啊，会解决大量的人工作业，又没有污染、环保的一个企业，对吧？很高兴大家能来到我们公司参加这个培训啊。
This week, the factory wants to add 80 new part-time labelers to the 17 full-time employees they already have.
然后第二个就拉矿的速度也有一个。
They've been recruiting at the local schools, but they'll take pretty much anybody who can pass the test.
就是很优秀的同学，然后10分钟完成16张图就是合格。
They even let me have a shot at it.
可以让我们的脸变成瓜子脸，对不对？
This factory doesn't just do data labeling for driverless trucks. They process data for all sorts of things. Today, they're having us label images from a surveillance camera set up in a restaurant kitchen to see if workers are following health regulations. So it's entirely possible that this guy I'm drawing boxes on is gonna lose his job.
你觉得怎样？
I think I just got hired. The project that you're working on right now, who is it for?
很多就是你比如说这个数据下来，我们并不会说去询问这个是要做什么啊，这个客户是啥，我们都这边不会去关注这些啊，只是完成。
今天是第一次接触关于人工智能的一些知识，发现其实人工智能离我们生活很近，然后它跟我们生活息息相关，所以感到很惊奇。
我今天感觉学的还挺多的，主要是这个描框。
Do you think you'll keep doing this job?
考虑考虑吧，回去呗。
As China moves away from an economy driven by industrial factories, AI offers a path to a job in a different kind of factory. So the AI industry has been pretty good for people because the industry needs people for now.
Do you think there's ever going to be a point where you don't need people to physically label stuff, where the computers are efficient enough to just do it on their own?
我觉得这会是一个趋势。比如说我们现在新来的数据，我们的现在已经具备一个可能还不错的大脑，它能够自动的去标注很多的数据，这个会极大的降低这个对人工标注数据的需求。
Lawmakers in 12 states just wrapped their legislative sessions. And while most of their time was spent debating serious proposals, not every bill they considered was meant to become law. Missouri State Representative Andrew McDaniel recently proposed 2 gun laws. The first would require every Missourian over 21 to own a handgun. The second would require every adult between 18 and 25 to buy an AR-15. But he didn't actually mean it.
Oh, of course not. Not as is, of course, not at all. I'm not for big government and shoving stuff down people's throats. And that was the point of the matter for both sides.
It's called a joke bill, and a lot of people have used them to make a point. In January, Washington State Rep. Joel Kretz trolled a colleague who wanted to protect wolves by suggesting they all get shipped to her district. In Wyoming, Senator Ogden Driscoll introduced a bill allowing grizzly bear hunts as a way to knock at a federal judge who put the bears back on the endangered species list. Driscoll said the ruling prioritized bears over people. Sometimes these joke proposals make other legit bills unpassable. In 2012, Wyoming State Rep. David Miller introduced what he considered a totally serious bill, which became known as the Doomsday Bill. Its stated purpose was to initiate a study to prepare Wyoming in case the federal government completely crumbled. Think Armageddon, Godzilla, or Independence Day. The bill passed the first of 3 hurdles in the House, only to be sunk by troll amendments that would have required Wyoming to have its own aircraft carrier and a military draft. The bills that get the most attention are the ones meant to troll the GOP over its stance on women's reproductive rights. In Texas, State Rep. Jessica Farrar drafted the Man's Right to Know Act to regulate men's health and safety by, quote, creating a civil penalty for unregulated masturbatory emissions. Basically, if you identify as male and masturbate outside of a health facility, you get fined $100. It trolled strict anti-abortion laws in Texas, which Farrar says require medically unnecessary ultrasounds and make it harder for women to access health care. In Wilmington, Delaware, the city council recognized semen as a person because each egg person and sperm person should be deemed equal in the eyes of the government.
Oklahoma Senator Connie Johnson wrote an amendment saying that ejaculating anywhere outside a woman's vagina constitutes a, quote, action against an unborn child. And in Illinois, State Rep Kelly Cassidy found a way to turn the clock back even further, suggesting men who want to take Viagra be required to watch a video on how to treat pesky erections, a blue pill side effect. As in life or on the internet, trolling in the legislature can sometimes backfire. In 2016, California Representative Duncan Hunter proposed the Draft America's Daughters Act to make a point that including women in the draft would never get the votes. It passed, 32-30. And then there was this crowd favorite, an amendment in Louisiana that stated strippers could be no heavier than 160 pounds and no older than 28.
I'll offer up this amendment as a part of keeping the spirit alive of trimming the fat.
It was almost immediately pulled, but the joke did not go over well.
Think about that for your own daughter. That was utterly disrespectful and disgusting.
I may have went a little bit too far, as far as, trying to make a point. So quit getting offended by it and just move on. Laugh about it. Life is too short.
This is my mother in the background. It's for the good old times. I am 70 years old, and my mother, Ignacia, is 91 years old. And I promised my parents I would never put them in a nursing home as long as we can. Mom, being a caregiver for so many years, I feel like I don't have a life. I'm here 24/7. Where's my life going? But then I feel like a daughter, it's my duty, and I don't have that additional help from family members.
Es necesidad de convertirse y dejar la vida de pecado que hemos llevado, empezar una vida nueva.
Usually this is her way of being when I'm here. She prays, and then she prefers to confine herself to the room. She gets into this mood, this shell. I have 5 children, but they're also all scattered. We don't have anyone at all whatsoever. The only words I have is very, very lonely.
So I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I was looking for something that I can choose my own hours to kind of work around my husband's schedule. He works nights. I ran into this Papa website, and it was just ideal. It's exactly what I wanted to do, and the fact that I could pick my own hours was it for me. You just hit on my way, and then it says, visit commute started. I see Miss Ignacia 3 to 4 times a week, and I'm there anywhere from 3 to 4 hours. Hourly, I get paid $11, but there are also bonuses that they offer depending on how many hours you work that week.
Hey, good morning. My little daughter. We love her so much. Okay, so I'll be seeing you later.
Okay.
So you have a good day with
Thank you. Buenos días. I mean, that's priceless. Ay, ¿cómo está? ¿Cómo te extrañé?
Papa connects college students to older adults for companionship, assistance, and transportation. It's like a grandkid-on-demand. We launched our service originally in January of 2018, so we're a little over a year old now. And since then, we've grown to every city in Florida, every major city. We've opened up Michigan, Pennsylvania. We're opening up California, Texas, New York, New Jersey, Arizona, a couple others, all within the next couple of weeks. 10 years ago, would you have slept in a random person's house? No, but now you have Airbnb. Would you got in the back of a random person's car? No, but now you got Uber. I think that since those types of things have occurred, the baby boomer generation and even the previous generation is saying, wow, this is something like I would see as plausible, like an app or a phone number that I could call to get someone to provide me with support and companionship. Loneliness has a huge negative impact on older adults' lives.
Miss Rodriguez really wasn't eating much. She wasn't coming out of her room as much. She wasn't engaging and talking to Miss Torres either. So once I started coming around, I just would sit down and talk to her and kind of let her tell me whatever she wanted. And we got to know each other. Lo de carne, croquetita.
Caléntame los tecas.
Now that I would start coming around, she would come out. I would tell her, look, let's, have a talk on the table.
Pero te queda el pelo bien bonito.
Gracias.
Ay,
Hoy me
sí.
peiné.
Ay, sí.
Go read the newspaper. Let's go outside. Vamos a ver qué vemos hoy por ahí. Está bueno afuera.
Sí.
And slowly but surely, she just started opening up to me. And I mean, you could see, she loves to just talk. Mira los patitos ahí, qué chulo. Míralos ahí, mira.
Ahí están. Ay, mira qué lindo. Y eso tan grande.
Son bonitas.
Ajá.
Pero parecen como en un
roja, y
árbol.
amarilla. Y mira este color.
Parecen un árbol. It's just amazing, the relationship that we've developed. And she treats me like I'm her daughter. And I would not change that for the world.
What we've seen nowadays is that the nucleus family is no longer together. People are busy. You're working, I'm working. How could I possibly hang out and spend time with my parents and my grandparents all the time when they need support? I could send a Papa Pal. But they do need to get paid. In order to be able to support a business at scale, there's got to be a financial transaction.
Andaba a hacerle el arroz esa primavera. Y el arroz de chorrera, qué sé yo.
Yo tengo que buscar qué es eso para hacerlo.
She has breathed new life into our lives. When I come back, it's like, even if it's 3 hours, 4 hours, it's like I'm a brand new person. Emotionally, it de-stresses me.